I'm going to go over some of the rookie mistakes for powerlifting, the sort of top 10 that come up quite often. I've written an article on this, which you'll be able to find on my strength and conditioning coach page. I'm going to go through this from 1 to 10 so we know what all these details are. Following those guidelines, and it's information really that even experienced lifters can look at and go, actually, am I doing all these things? Is it going to be working for me? A lot of this has been from listening to other strength coaches, some very experienced powerlifters, using myself as an example. There's a lot of things I would have done differently if I'd started today. If I knew what I know now, as the old cliche suggests, I would change a lot of things. And if I had this information, it would be vastly improved my lifting life, my lifting career. So I hope this helps anyone out there, and please subscribe if you're interested. Number 1, the first thing you've got to do is learn to train with experienced lifters. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in the same training group as the experienced lifters. Many of them will be sort of set in their ways, and they'll have their own training partners that they're used to, that they find preferable for their particular spotting and their workouts that they train best with. But train around them so that they are there, and if they pick up on things, more often than not, they're going to be willing to help you. When I talk experience in powerlifting, it's very easy to get caught up with the information that's available on the internet as to what a level of experience is. People can read articles and spout off and talk about things without actually fully understanding how they apply to the real world and how they apply to people. Experience does not mean 2 or 3 years lifting. Experience, really, we're talking 8+ years of competition, through constantly going through the battles with the body, constantly trying to improve, through injuries, the back again, meeting people, talking to people. 1 or 2 years doesn't cut it. Really, you're still a beginner at that stage. So rule number 1, find experienced lifters, go and train around them, train with them, ask for their help if you can. If they're willing to help, brilliant. If not, start looking at what they're doing. Number 2, train at the best facilities. Now, generally speaking, if you're here in the UK, the best facilities are not a David Lloyd, they are not a Fitness First, they are not a commercial chain gym. You're not going to get stronger training at Pure Gym in terms of powerlifting ability. You need to start training at the hardcore spit and sawdust gyms where they've got some big old weights that are calibrated, where they've got big old calibrated bars and big old gorillas lifting them. I've had particular bits of kit weighed. I actually have a Texas Power Bar that has been weighed digitally, and it comes out at 19 kilos, 500 grams, which is an entire record below what it should be. You only need 500 grams to break a record. Now, if a big manufacturer like Texas Barbell are making this kind of error, what do you think the kit is going to be like with the cheap barbells and cheap plates at these big chain gyms, where they don't want to spend the money on something that's not going to make them a great deal of money, which is powerlifting? Because the bottom line is, we're few and far between. We're not their ideal clients, so they don't really cater for them in those places. You have to find gyms run by powerlifters where they equipped it for themselves, calibrated the plates, the likes of your Eleiko plates, your Avanco plates, your Challenge plates. You know, you want those kind of bars coming in there that are good, solid bars with the right equipment, and I've got the right people in there. 3, know what your program is and know what it does for you. I've seen countless times people talking about generic programs and applying them across the board, or they've been given a particular program by a coach, and then they've tried to pass that information across to somebody else that's got a completely different body mechanic to them, completely different weaknesses, without knowing how it applies to things. Now, there's a point to make here when it comes to these kind of programs. You have to appreciate some lifters out there are genetically gifted. They are predispositioned to be good at delivering force in the particular lines required for powerlifting. You get this kind of thing in every sport. You get people that are naturally gifted. Look at Michael Phelps in terms of swimming with his joints. It's perfect for that. He's fortunately landed in the correct sport. This is true of powerlifting as well. Now, if these people train consistently, they will get stronger, and they may even get to the top and be some of the best. This does not mean, however, that they know what is best for you. They understand what works for them. They've probably had coaching themselves on it. what they're passing you is information that they've learned that applies to them. It doesn't necessarily mean it applies for you. So you have to understand your program, understand your own weaknesses, and understand how it applies to you. Listen to everyone. You never know where you're going to pick up snippets of gold when it comes to training. So listen to everyone. Everyone's got an opinion. They're just like arseholes. They come out of the woodwork. Everyone thinks they know what's best. Take on board all the information and learn how to sift through it and find what works best for you. And look to those people that have a history and have got demonstrable evidence of their coaching ability, of their biomechanical knowledge, of their training knowledge, of their nutritional based knowledge. Favour their information and then see what other information you get that supports this or discredits it, and make an educated guess based on that. Don't just sit there and go, well, this person told me this and this guy told me this, so it must be right because he's big or he's strong. It doesn't work that way. Rule number 5, one I think is very important. A lot of the top lifters do this, and I really do appreciate it in a lot of people. Be modest. Everybody struggles in this sport. Some people are better than others at it. Some people are naturally predispositioned or have better access to equipment or facilities or coaching, etc. Or, it could be one thing, it could be multiple things. Some people could just genuinely have all the same benefits but work harder. But bear in mind, we are all working towards a goal. This is a hobby that people take part in. So be modest. Don't put other lifters down for the sake of it. Support each other in what you do. And if you do win something, by all means celebrate. But always remember a little phrase that was coined by Rudyard Kipling, The Law of the Jungle. Sorry, in the poem If, get my poems right there. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters both the same, you get brilliant days, you get bad days. Make sure the middle ground is there and make sure you stay grounded when you're dealing with people. Don't be arrogant about stuff.